The Ultimate Life, 2013, begins by reintroducing us to Jason Stevens, the protagonist from the film's predecessor, The Ultimate Gift. Jason, played by Logan Bartholomew, has inherited a massive fortune from his late grandfather, Red Stevens. However, despite the wealth and success he now possesses, Jason finds himself feeling unfulfilled. The film opens with Jason's world starting to unravel. He is in the middle of a legal battle over his grandfather's estate, and his relationship with his girlfriend, Alexia, is strained due to his increasing focus on business. This hook immediately sets up the central conflict. Jason may have inherited great wealth, but he's losing sight of the things that truly matter. As Jason becomes more embroiled in the legal drama over the Stevens family fortune, Alexia, played by Ali Hillis, decides to leave for a humanitarian trip to Haiti, expressing her frustration that Jason is too consumed with his business dealings to spend time with her. This decision leaves Jason feeling isolated and even more disconnected from his life. With Alexia gone and the pressure of his family's expectations weighing heavily on him, Jason's life begins to spiral into a series of stressful confrontations and difficult choices. At this low point, Jason finds solace in the form of an unexpected discovery: his grandfather Red's journal. The journal offers a window into Red's life, detailing his journey from a poor young man struggling to make a living during the Great Depression to a self-made billionaire. Jason, curious about how his grandfather built such an extraordinary life, begins to read the journal, and the film transitions into a flashback where we are transported to Red Stevens' younger years. As Jason reads the journal, the film shifts its focus to the early 1940s, where we meet a young Red Stevens, played by Austin James. Red is ambitious, but struggling to get by in a time of economic hardship. He starts working at a small diner, doing whatever he can to make ends meet while dreaming of a better future. Red's determination to succeed, even in the face of adversity, becomes the driving force behind his story. He's not just chasing money, he's chasing the idea of building a legacy, something greater than himself. The journal entries are filled with lessons that Red learned along the way, and as Jason delves deeper into his grandfather's past, he starts to see parallels between Red's struggles and his own. Red faced many obstacles on his road to success, but he never lost sight of the values that truly mattered: hard work, integrity, and most importantly, the relationships with the people he cared about. This is where the film's central theme begins to emerge. True wealth isn't measured by money, but by the legacy of love, kindness, and generosity that one leaves behind. As Jason reads more about Red's early years, he starts to realize that he has been too focused on the financial side of his inheritance, neglecting the deeper, more meaningful aspects of life. The journal becomes a source of wisdom and guidance for Jason, helping him to reassess his priorities and think about what kind of legacy he wants to leave behind. Jason becomes more engrossed in his grandfather Red's journal, and the film delves deeper into Red's early struggles and successes. The story picks up with young Red, now determined to make something of himself despite the harsh realities of life during the Great Depression. Red's ambition drives him to take bigger risks, and he seizes an opportunity to move from his small-town diner job to the bustling oil fields of Texas, where fortunes are being made. It's here that Red's story really begins to take shape. At first, Red's work in the oil industry is grueling and unforgiving. He starts at the bottom, working long, hard hours with little pay. However, Red's tenacity and willingness to learn set him apart from his peers. He soaks up every bit of knowledge he can, learning the ins and outs of the oil business from seasoned veterans. The film paints a picture of a young man who is relentless in his pursuit of success, but not without heart. Red begins to form connections with the people around him, including his mentor, a wise and grizzled oil man who sees potential in Red and takes him under his wing. As Red rises through the ranks in the oil fields, he faces a series of moral dilemmas that test his character. At one point, Red is offered a shady business deal that could make him a significant amount of money, but at the cost of his integrity. He chooses to walk away from the deal, even though it sets him back financially. This decision is a key moment in the journal, showcasing Red's strong moral compass and his understanding that true success isn't worth sacrificing one's principles. Back in the present, Jason reflects on how his grandfather's values contrast with his own recent actions. He begins to realize that he has been so focused on winning the legal battle over the estate and managing the family fortune that he has lost sight of the qualities that made Red successful in the first place. Red didn't just accumulate wealth, he built relationships, earned respect, and left a legacy of integrity and generosity. Jason starts to question whether he's truly living up to the legacy Red intended to pass on. As the journal progresses, we see Red's fortunes slowly begin to change. Through hard work and smart decisions, Red eventually strikes oil, marking the turning point in his life. He begins to build his empire, but even as he amasses wealth, Red never forgets where he came from. He continues to take care of those around him, showing compassion and loyalty to the people who helped him along the way. This is where Red's philosophy of giving back really starts to emerge, a theme that will resonate deeply with Jason as he reads on. In the present day, Jason's life begins to shift as well. Inspired by his grandfather's story, he starts to re-evaluate his approach to both his personal life and his business dealings. He begins to distance himself from the legal fight over the family fortune, recognizing that his obsession with the material aspects of the inheritance has driven a wedge between him and Alexia. Jason starts to understand that, like Red, he needs to focus on building meaningful relationships and contributing positively to the world around him, rather than simply holding on to wealth. As Jason continues to read the journal, Red's journey from humble beginnings to a life of wealth and influence serves as both an inspiration and a guide. Jason realizes that his grandfather's greatest gift wasn't the money he left behind, but the lessons on how to live a life of purpose and integrity. The journal reveals more about Red Stevens' journey to success. Red's rise in the oil industry wasn't without its setbacks and sacrifices. As he continues to build his business, he encounters significant obstacles that test his resilience and values. Red's determination never wavers, but the price of success begins to take a toll on his personal life. He faces the difficult realization that his growing fortune is coming at the cost of his relationships with the people he cares about most. One of the key moments in Red's life happens when he starts to distance himself from his family, especially his first love, Hannah. Red's work in the oil fields consumes him, and despite his love for Hannah, his ambition keeps him from spending time with her. This creates a rift between them, and Red begins to understand that while success is important, it means little if you have no one to share it with. This part of Red's journey offers a deep emotional contrast to his earlier successes. Despite his growing wealth, Red's personal life is in turmoil, and he starts to question whether his pursuit of money is truly worth it. Back in the present, Jason feels the weight of this lesson as he compares Red's struggles with his own. He realizes that, like his grandfather, he has allowed his work and the battle over the family fortune to distance him from the people he loves, most notably Alexia. Jason's drive to protect his inheritance has consumed him, just as Red's ambition once did. This parallel between their lives drives Jason to reflect on what he truly wants out of life. He begins to see that wealth, without the presence of loved ones and meaningful connections, is hollow. As Red's story in the journal progresses, we see him hit a low point. His business is thriving, but his personal life is falling apart. Hannah, feeling neglected, ultimately decides to leave him. This loss devastates Red, and he is forced to confront the fact that his relentless pursuit of success has cost him the one thing he truly loved. It's a turning point for Red, one that forces him to reassess his priorities. He begins to realize that true wealth isn't about the amount of money you have, but the relationships and connections you build along the way. Jason, reading this, is deeply moved. He realizes that he's been headed down the same path as Red, prioritizing wealth and success over the relationships in his life. Inspired by Red's change of heart, Jason decides it's time to make amends. He begins to reconnect with Alexia, reaching out to her while she's on her humanitarian trip in Haiti. Jason expresses his desire to support her and spend more time together, showing that he's ready to put his relationship first, rather than his business and financial concerns. At the same time, Jason starts to approach the legal battle over his grandfather's estate with a new perspective. Rather than focusing on winning or holding on to as much money as possible, Jason decides to embrace the lessons from Red's life. He starts to think about how he can use the family fortune to create a lasting impact, much like Red did. Jason's transformation from a man obsessed with wealth to someone who values relationships and legacy marks a significant turning point in his journey. Meanwhile, in the flashbacks, Red also begins to change. He starts to rebuild his personal life by reconnecting with his family and friends. Red learns that while money is a tool that can help improve lives, it should never come at the cost of personal connections. This realization helps Red refocus on the people around him, and he starts to use his wealth to give back to his community, helping those who are less fortunate. Red's commitment to using his success for good sets an example for Jason, who begins to adopt the same mindset in his own life. Both Red's story in the past and Jason's journey in the present converge in a powerful way. Jason, having read through more of his grandfather's journal, is inspired by Red's realization that wealth alone cannot bring happiness or fulfillment. Red's decision to change his approach to life, to prioritize relationships, generosity, and legacy, deeply resonates with Jason, and it sparks a transformation in his own life. In the journal's flashbacks, Red continues to make amends for his earlier mistakes. He reconnects with his family and becomes deeply involved in charitable endeavors, using his wealth to make a real difference in the lives of others. Red's vision of success shifts from personal financial gain to leaving behind a positive and lasting legacy. He starts helping those who are struggling, building schools, and funding community projects, all while nurturing the relationships he had once neglected. His life becomes a testament to the idea that true success is measured not by what you have, but by what you give back to others. Back in the present, Jason begins to act on the lessons he's learned. He reaches out to Alexia, not just with words, but with actions. Jason decides to join her in Haiti, supporting her humanitarian work and showing her that he's ready to put their relationship first. It's a significant moment for Jason, as he's finally stepping away from the materialistic mindset that had consumed him and embracing a more meaningful, purpose-driven life. His decision to prioritize Alexia and their relationship shows that he has learned the importance of love and connection, things that money can never buy. Meanwhile, the legal battle over Red's estate reaches its conclusion, but by this point, Jason is no longer concerned about holding on to as much wealth as possible. Instead, he embraces Red's philosophy of using his fortune to do good in the world. Jason decides to allocate a large portion of his inheritance to charitable causes, much like Red did in his later years. The decision is a clear reflection of Jason's growth. He understands now that his wealth is not just a privilege, but a responsibility. He wants to create a legacy that mirrors his grandfather's, one that will benefit others for years to come. The film culminates with Jason visiting Red's grave, where he reflects on everything he's learned from the journal. Jason expresses his gratitude for the wisdom his grandfather left behind, not in the form of wealth, but in the lessons about life, love, and giving back. The journal, once just a record of Red's life, has become Jason's guide to living a fulfilling and meaningful existence. Standing by Red's grave, Jason promises to carry on his grandfather's legacy by using his wealth to make the world a better place and by maintaining the values of integrity, kindness, and generosity that Red embodied. In the final moments of the movie, we see Jason and Alexia in Haiti, working side by side on a project that will provide education and resources to children in need. Jason is no longer the man who was caught up in the legal battles and the pressure of family expectations. He's found peace in knowing that true wealth comes from the impact you have on the lives of others. His journey mirrors Red's in many ways, but Jason has the benefit of learning from his grandfather's mistakes, allowing him to find balance earlier in life. The film closes with a sense of hope and fulfillment. Jason's transformation is complete. He has embraced the ultimate lesson that the greatest gift anyone can give or receive is the ability to touch and improve the lives of others. The ultimate life ends on a heartfelt note, reminding us all that the most meaningful legacies are built not on material wealth, but on the values of love, generosity, and the positive influence we leave behind.